Hello guys, it's me, James Riley again for Motorhome Happiness. I am at the Warner shows at this fantastic event at the Newark Showground. This is our first ever show at this amazing showground. I am with a great man here who is a part of the motorhome, campervan and caravan industry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only the one and only Matt Sims from the podcast.com, isn't it?
Motorhome Matt podcast.
The Motorhome Matt podcast and that leisureshop.com and the Motorhome Holiday.
Motorhome Holiday Company.
Motorhome Holiday Company.
That's
so
it.
Matt, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm in Tilly,
Yes.
the famous motorhome.
Yeah, the famous motorhome of my mum's, what she drives, and I'm a personal navigator. And we're going to ask Matt some questions about his life, what made him start in the motorhome industry. So it's going to be great, guys. It's going to be great. So before we get into it, I first met Matt at the NEC in Birmingham in February because me and my mum got invited to go to the NEC, which is an absolutely fantastic show, by the way. And I bumped into this guy, the amazing Motorhome Matt. The man, the myth, the legend. Isn't that right, Matt?
Hardly, mate. Hardly.
Hardly. So, Matt, welcome and hello again.
Hello again.
So, Matt, what made you start this business in the motorhome industry?
Well, my first business in this industry was a motorhome dealership, which I started in 2008. And I was working in the corporate events industry before that.
Right.
And I sold that business. I sold my share in that business anyway. And wanted to do something that was, as we say in the business world, B2C, so business to consumer.
Okay.
Whereas I was working very much in the business to business world before. So I wanted to deal with the general public. Most people say, why on earth would you want to do that? And so we started a motorhome dealership. And I'd had a motorhome for, I don't know, 20 years.
Wow.
I say a motorhome, I'd had a few.
20 years, guys. Wow.
And it probably was that long. I grew up caravanning, tenting.
Yeah.
And there was an opportunity to open a motorhome dealership in Bristol, my home city. And so with two friends, the three of us got together. We were a bit like the cast of Top Gear. And we went out to a big show in Germany, Caravan Salon, and pitched manufacturers. And we opened as a main dealer for Adria and for a division of Death Lefts, Hobby, Leica. So there were a number of brands we became a main dealer for, selling new, and we started selling used, and we built this fantastic motorhome dealership. It's called Family Travel Centre in Bristol, and I wanted a complete change of pace, really.
Yeah.
It was a recessive climate when we started that business, and we managed to launch it. And the only way I was going to continue the event business was to do a lot more international events.
Yeah.
We were just having baby number 4, so my 4th child, and I didn't want to be away from home that much. So
Yeah.
that's why I stepped out of events, because people often say, why did you go from corporate events into motorhomes? How did you do that? So it was a hobby I wanted to turn into a business.
Okay.
And we did it very, very successfully. And the dealership won loads of awards. We became Adria's biggest dealer.
Wow.
It was a fantastic business, and I wanted to grow different sites. That was always my plan. I wanted to copy and paste the business. I tried it with the event business, and we copied and pasted it from the UK to Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
And it kind of worked really well and failed spectacularly. And I wanted to do it again. And the guys I was working with didn't want to do that. They wanted to stay with one business and kind of they said, we want to plod. And I said, I've never plodded and I'm not starting now. So I said, I'm out. That's fine. You guys carry on. I want to do more.
Yeah.
So I left and sold my share in that business. And then sadly, their plodding meant that it went bust. They ran out of money and lost their edge, and sadly it closed. And that's when I launched Motorhome Holiday Company on my exit there, and it hires motorhomes. I saw a huge opportunity for motorhome hire, and we sell motorhomes. And soon after that, we launched a storage business as well, storing motorhomes and caravans. And then 3 years ago, post-pandemic, we launched That Leisure Shop, which is a real shop in North Somerset and online, which is just going like that. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
Yes. And that is true, guys, because today at his shop here, I even bought a brand new mop in the front there.
Let me get it.
Yeah. Because I'm going to wash my van when I get home. Even though I've washed that today, it is a bit of a wet situation.
You can do the roof now.
Yes, I can do the roof. All I need now is a big step of ladders.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So tell me, how many motorhomes have you got in your Motorhome Holiday?
In Motorhome Holiday Company, what,
Yeah.
for hire?
Yeah, for hire.
So, less this year. So, we've run 36 in the past,
Okay.
which is frankly too many. We're running 24 this year.
24.
So we scaled it back, and it's been really tough.
Yeah.
Since that big C word, COVID, it's been
goodness
hard.
me,
I mean,
yeah.
that COVID year, 2020, was insane. We
Yeah.
were shut for 6 months,
Yeah.
and then we did not cope at all.
Yeah.
And then the following 2 years, everyone could go abroad, and they did. And so Motorhome Hire was not necessarily a holiday choice, like it was the only choice for a time.
Yes.
Then they could go on foreign holidays, and now people haven't got the money. I mean, a Motorhome Hire holiday is not a cheap holiday.
No.
It's nowhere near as expensive as me taking my 4 kids to Gran Canaria for a week. We're doing a week in Cornwall, and it is in a house which we're renting.
Yeah.
It's really expensive.
Yeah. Everything's going up.
So Motorhome Hire this year will have a much better year. We're really, really busy. We're nearly fully booked, and I think part of that is we had 4 local competitors, all great friends.
Yeah.
But they've stopped trading.
Yeah.
They found it too tough, and for various reasons they are no longer in business. So locally for us in North Somerset, we're between Bristol and Weston-super-Mare, we've lost all our competition, and I think we're seeing a benefit for that.
I want to talk about COVID, because how did COVID make a big impact on your life, including your businesses and the family and yourself? How did you cope when the big COVID hit?
It was a scary time, wasn't it? I
Very scary.
remember doing a piece to camera and saying, this is like being in a movie.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel real, and we've all forgotten it, I think.
Yeah.
Boris going on the telly,
Yeah.
the Bojo show, as I used to call it.
Yeah.
And it was very statesman-like, and it was like a movie.
Yeah.
We closed the business down temporarily, and we kind of pivoted, if I can use that word.
Yeah.
There was a big national motorhome business that went bust.
Yes.
And the creditors asked us, me and the team, to get hold of their stock from all over the country, and we were bringing it back to our base, and we were checking them through and auditing them.
Yeah.
And that kept us afloat. That kept us busy for months. In terms of impact on the family, I've never had COVID, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I haven't got it.
Yeah. Neither of us. Touch wood.
Yeah, I've not knowingly had it anyway. I've had lots of other stuff going on, but not COVID.
No.
But the kids all had it. But we survived through it, and the business bounced back with a bang. I remember, I'll tell you the story. We went back to work 2 weeks before. Do you remember the 4th of July?
Yeah, the
we were
4th of July.
to reopen.
Yeah.
And we went back in the middle of June, and we had all the bedding out of every motorhome, every curtain, all the soft cushion covers. We washed everything.
Yeah.
And they're all bagged up and labelled, and they were all over the yard, and we were climbing over them trying to rebuild all these motorhomes. And the gates were open, and people were at 9:30. People were climbing over the bag, saying, "Can we book a motorhome?" And I was like, "Well, we're not open yet. Please go on the website." And we during lockdown, we built an online booking system, and at 2:00, I said, "We have to close the gates. We can't do this. There are too many people," and so we shut the gates at 2:00, and we spent 2 weeks creeping in and out of the yard.
Yeah.
Hiding, pretending we weren't there.
Yeah.
Just so people wouldn't come in and bother us as we got everything ready.
Yeah.
And it went ballistic. We were overrun. We didn't cope at all.
No.
It was insane.
Well, we as a family, we didn't cope very well. I was very high with depression and anxiety. The scale of it, when I seen an article saying when people with special needs and additional needs were going to, if we were going to get COVID, and if we took very bad, they weren't going to do not resuscitate. And that panicked me, because
I bet.
with me having autism and ADHD, with a group of nearly 5,000 members in that period, I didn't want to leave the house. And it really, really took its toll on me. The day we went into lockdown, I'm thinking, how the hell are we going to cope with this? Because my motorhome was on my brother's drive and we couldn't go and see her for literally 2 months. And I was just checking on my brother's phone. Can you please just send me some photos of my motorhome just to see if it's fine? Because, you know, building this community when in a world that we didn't know what was going on, we didn't know what was really happening, and with the people that who have sadly passed on from this coronavirus was just frightening, because I thought I was going to get it and I thought I was the one that's just going to go first, which was really, really scared.
Yeah.
But when the 4th of July happened, that's when we said, right, come on, we've got enough money in the pot, let's get out, because I was thinking this is the only opportunity we were going to get, and that was the only, even though we were in a van for 3 months doing England and Scotland when the borders opened on the 15th of July. That's when we did Scotland for 3 months, because we thought lockdown was never going to lift, and it did really take a big impact on both of our lives, not just you as a family man, but as a businessman. Is that right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, big time. We really didn't know what was going to happen. It was scary at all levels, wasn't it? It really was. But it's gone. Will we ever go back to it? No, I don't think so.
I hope not. I genuinely hope that we don't see anything like that in another lifetime.
No, same.
But I do have one more question on about COVID. Did you think you were going to lose your business during that period?
Yeah, we actually wrote a B, C, D, E, F plan, and F was blow it. We're binning it.
Yeah.
And we did have a staged plan, and I wrote letters to all our investors and people to whom I knew we would owe money, saying, you know, we're shutting the business, and we basically made the plan to go bust. And my accountant said, wow, none of my other clients are doing this. This is a great idea. And they were written, they were ready to be signed, and they were saved and never used.
Yeah.
And we never needed any of them. But we had a plan, a recovery plan to shrink back the site, move to a different location, scale it back, and it was A, B, C, D, E, F, with F being the end.
Yeah.
Meaning sod it. And
yeah,
you know, that's over. And we didn't even we got to B, and that was it. Which was, you know, staff off on furlough, and topped up to full salary, and then everyone came back to work. So
yeah. So do you think we're out of the woods now of COVID? Do you think it's going to be here for a lifetime?
I think the memory of it will be here for a lifetime. I think there's an awareness of how vulnerable we are as a human race. And I wish people would take that more seriously and look after themselves and the planet better as a result. For us as a business, which is what I thought you were going to ask me, it's going to be 5 years before we flush through all of the COVID bookings and the money that we took. We've still got people who paid for a holiday in 2019 for 2020, and they've still not been able to take it because of a hip hop or some kind of reason. There's a family wedding and they're postponing, and they're still in our system. We call it deferred income, and it's still there ready to drop into our P&L next year. And we've extended, and most businesses aren't doing that. We are, as a small business, we decided that people shouldn't lose their money. But it's going to be, I reckon, 5 years. Hopefully next year we'll have rinsed it all out, but we're still some lingering from COVID.
So I want to talk about the leisureShop.com.
LeisureShop.com.
So how did that come about? What made you start this great accessories for motorhomes and camper vans and caravans?
Insanity. I thought, let's open a shop on the high street when all the high street is imploding and closing. I mean, what could go wrong? And what triggered it was there was a business premises next to us, and the company in there was 2 companies in there, and they both vacated in a hurry. And I thought this would be a great little trade counter, and the idea was to have a shop that's probably the size of this motorhome, for a shop really quite small, and it was selling toilet chemical, spare parts, accessories, really, you know, grab and go stuff. And we've got big storage businesses around us.
Yeah.
And I thought it could serve them with leisure batteries and really, essential stuff. And then we knocked a wall down and knocked another wall down. And the shop is tiny. I mean, don't get me wrong, our shop is really small, but it's way bigger than we intended it to be. And my vision kind of ran away with it. And then we went online, and of course that has what I call a glass ceiling.
Yeah.
So we can keep scaling and growing. And the other end of the building became available, so we rented that. That became a warehouse. And then I had this idea to build a podcast. So I wanted a way of promoting the shop that was very passive. So it would serve the customer with information and helpful advice, and it would promote the shop. So we were doing these unboxing videos, which my 15-year-old daughter was filming. And then the pandemic finished, she went back to school, and it was like, well, how are we going to carry on with this?
Yeah.
And then we had the idea to launch a podcast, and one thing grew to another, and Motorhome Matt was born.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already saved in thousands of phones across Europe and the UK as Motorhome Matt. That was always my nickname. And when it came to make the decision to what do we name this podcast, I said it has to be Motorhome Matt. And what we didn't forecast and predict is that the podcast would become this kind of global thing that it's now sitting at. I mean, today as we record this, we are currently in the top 10 UK automotive podcast chart. We're number 9, and Top Gear at number 17.
Wow.
And we've peaked at number 4 in the past.
Yeah.
Ahead of Top Gear, and there's Wheeler Dealers is another big household name. We're regularly going above them. It's just phenomenal. It was never our intention, but it's been a heck of a journey, and I'm loving it.
Well, me and your shop have something in common, because our insurance is with Ripe, and I do believe you have something to do with Ripe Insurance.
Yeah.
Isn't that correct?
So Ripe have sponsored the podcast. They're our current sponsor, and we agreed a 4-month sponsorship with them. They approached us. I have to confess, I'd never heard of them. They were fairly new to the motorhome market.
Yep.
And I did a mystery shop on them and was very impressed.
Yeah.
And did some real due diligence on them. And we agreed to have a conversation about them sponsoring it and understood their objectives. And it's been really good.
Yeah.
I spoke to a couple today. They came up and shook my hand and said, Matt, you have saved us £300.
Yeah.
So I said, where's my 20%?
Yeah.
But their policy went from £900 down to £600.
Yeah. We were in the same boat as you, Matt, because in January we were looking for insurance dealers, and the insurance brokers were just challenging us from £675 a year, and we couldn't really pay the bills. And that's when Ripe got in touch with us and says, we can do you a deal for £25 a month for less than £275 a year. And
brilliant.
That's the best insurance broker that's come up with the best prices, and we're using. And touch wood, they've been amazing with us. They've just been very cooperative, and they've just been the best people to deal with in the motorhome industry. And thanks to Ripe, there will be a link in the description about Ripe with Matt's podcast and with Tilly as well, because if anybody is looking for insurance, Ripe will be the people that you need to speak to.
Yeah, they are offering 25% off if you use the code Motorhome Matt, and you can do that online, or you can ring them up, and they have a UK call centre. This has become a Ripe promo. That wasn't our plan.
No, was it?
Ripe will love this. And they have been great. They've been brilliant premium for us as well on our motorhome. And definitely worth checking out.
Well, I'll be definitely using this discount code, because I will be ringing them up and saying, listen, Motorhome Matt is my good friend, and I believe Tilly is with Ripe Motorhome. So thanks to Matt, I could be getting a bit of a discount.
It's worth asking.
So I want to talk about Matt we're going to discuss about the motorhome life. What's the best place you have been in your motorhome?
Gosh, it's probably recently, actually. We were on the Outer Hebrides. So we made a decision to take a holiday. I had heart surgery a few months ago.
Yes.
And we were going to go away in the van for 2 or 3 weeks, and it was going to be a challenge. Lots going on in the business, and we thought, nah, we can't go. There's too much going on. Anyway, that happened, and when it just makes you stop and you think, hang on a minute, what's this all about? So we made the decision to go, and I took my MacBook. I was still working every day, but we went to Lewis, Harris, and Skye, and East Harris for me is one of the best places I've ever been on the planet, and I've travelled the world.
Yeah.
And I've been to some amazing places, but in the motorhome, East Harris was stunning.
Yeah.
I would definitely go back. Have you been to the Outer Hebrides?
Not yet. We have done the Highlands of Scotland, but I will say this, guys, when me, my mum and Cameron and Ken were in Scotland, this guy was in Scotland at the same time on the West Coast. We even tried to locate him, but it was
we tried to meet up.
We tried to meet up, but it was just too complicated.
Yeah, I know I put my foot down and legged it.
Yeah, that's what we did as well. Because
but yeah, Outer Hebrides are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really, that was an amazing place to go in the van. Our motorhome is short, and that made life easier. It's quite narrow. It's a van conversion.
Okay.
It's not a big motorhome like this.
Yeah.
It's an Adria Twin, it's called, and I'll go anywhere in it. It is easy to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that is a factor for us as well.
So my other question is to you, Matt. What's the least thing that you do not enjoy about motorhome? Is there anything that you do not like doing about motorhomes?
I hate it when I hear people dumping their toilet cassette waste on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I hate it. I don't know why people do it. I don't get it. I do not get it. There is no need to do it. No. It's a pet hate of mine. And one of the other big pet hates of mine is the stories I see in your group. There's one today where people are just not being looked after by a motorhome dealer.
Yeah.
They've bought a motorhome and they've suffered lots of problems with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, a motorhome is a collection of electrical, mechanical parts.
Yeah.
It is going to go wrong. Not only that, we're then going to drive it down the road and over a speed bump. Do you know what I mean? And at speed, something's going to fall off.
Yeah.
That is inevitable. You have to accept that. And we're not always very good at, being tolerant of that.
Yeah.
But when it goes wrong and the dealer refuses to deal with it, or the customer is treated really badly, that infuriates me. When there seems no grounds for the customer to be treated badly. There's always two sides to the story. Sometimes there's more than that.
Yeah.
And so getting the facts is key. But I do think as an industry, the service levels that are norm are way too low. There are some absolute heroes in our business, without a doubt, who are doing a brilliant job. They're almost faultless. Yeah. But there are some big brands in the business, manufacturers, dealers, parts suppliers, who it amazes me that they survive. Yeah. I don't get how they survive. Yeah. And they infuriate me. Yeah. That's probably my least favourite.
Yeah. And can I just say, guys, me and my mum, we have never emptied our Elson toilet on a roadside. We've always waited till we get to a campsite. I generally believe that we treat every purpose of a road, every lay-by, every parking with respect. We do not leave it as a hit tip, whatever people describe it. Because I generally believe we need to look after this world of motorhomes, and we need to keep a good name to the motorhome industry, because there is, what Matt just said, that there is a lot of happening right now, and
is it? I mean, it's a minority.
Yeah.
And I think it makes good social media stuff, but it happens and it infuriates me. I don't think there's a lot of it going on. I think the vast majority of us are rule-abiding, law-abiding citizens that we actually want to know what the rules are so we can obey them. Yeah. That's the nature of us, I think. Yeah. But there's always a minority that spoil it for the majority. Yeah. Of course. That's life, I guess.
Yeah. My other question is, Matt, you've done a video on your podcast about Motorhome Happiness, because I was your guest on as a Skype. Yeah. How did you find Motorhome Happiness?
I'm an avid Facebook user. I don't get Instagram, and my whole family and team all take the mick out of me because I'm constantly saying, why can't I click on this? I don't understand this. But Facebook I get, and I was an early adopter of Facebook, so I found the group fairly early on, How many years has it been going?
It'd be coming up 5 years in September.
I was going to say it must be 5 years. So
Yeah.
I don't know when I joined the group, but some time ago. And the thing that impressed me most about the group, there were only thousands of members in it when I joined, is the ethic about the group, about it being an all-accepting, non-judgmental group. And the name I found inspiring. I thought that was great. And I thought the way you founded it, and obviously the challenges you have with mental health and so on, and your story about why you set up the group, I thought was inspiring. And so I willingly joined it, and I am regularly in it, contributing, commenting.
Yes, you will.
Certainly reading content, and it's a busy group. It's a great place.
Well, thank you for that.
Engage with people.
Yeah. See this man here. He's an inspiration, a legend in the motorhome world. You really are. Before we wrap this up, in February after the NEC, you suffered a health scare, and how are you feeling after that? Can you tell us what happened, if you don't mind me?
I don't mind you asking at all. It's very kind of you to ask. For a few months, I'd had a nasty cough, and it was nicknamed the 100-day cough.
Okay.
And lots of people had this, and I had some chest aches, and on exertion, I was struggling to breathe a bit. So I'd gone to the doctor and said, look, I've got this cough, and they thought I had maybe fluid on my lungs. So I had a chest x-ray, I had 2 ECGs, they were all fine, but of course they're just a snapshot of that moment. And I went for a second chest x-ray, and I was chasing the results of this just before the NEC. And that week, on the Wednesday morning, I'd had a few moments where I'd got up, passed out, or felt wobbly. And that Wednesday morning, I think it was the day I saw you actually.
Yeah.
I'd had an hour where I really felt grey. Is the only best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And it would take me a few hours to recover. And we were filming content, and our cameraman was, saying, "Are you all right, Matt?" We're taking 3 or 4 takes to do things. On the Thursday, totally different story. Anyway, came home from the NEC and was chasing the results of this second chest x-ray. Went to the doctor, saw a brand new GP, and he said, "I'm really not happy with what you're saying, Matt, about this cough, the chest aches, and the experience you have after exertion. I had an ache in my shoulder and sort of into my arm." So he referred me to A&E. He said, "You're going in now. We'll take you in by ambulance."
Wow.
And so off I went to hospital, and within 20 hours I was in theatre in cardiology. I had an echocardiogram and an angiogram. You can see my scar. I don't know if you can see it on there.
Yeah.
A little black mark.
Yeah.
So they went in my wrist, up my arm, and round into my heart, injected a load of blue dye in my heart, and they photographed it with an x-ray. And the surgeon said, "You're lucky to have made it here today. It's pretty bad in here." And I had 4 blocked arteries. He cleared 2 out and fitted 2 stents. And I lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
And the stents I had dissolved. They're a trial, and they will, after 90 days, disappear.
Now, the reason why I've asked him this question, because after the NEC, Matt took bad, and I had to jump on board just to make sure he was all right, because Matt's a very good friend of mine, and he's a big name to the motorhome and campers and to the camper van industry, because this man has done a lot for this motorhome world, like the shop. He's hired motorhome and the storage place, and I think if we would have lost this man, this would have been the biggest motorhome crash in the UK, because what this man really does, he really helps with, and he cares about the motorhome life, like his shop, like the hired motorhome holiday fund. This guy is an absolute legend, and I'm just glad you had to tell the tale, mate.
That's very, very kind of you to say. I'm pretty pleased as well. I definitely feel like I've had a second chance.
Yeah.
And I feel very blessed to be here. I'm eternally grateful to still be here. I said in a post, I was nearly that phone call, when you get, "Matt Sims has died." What? And that funeral and that guy. And I have friends who, that's been my reaction, in their 40s. I'm 52. So younger than me, they've suffered a massive heart attack, and they're much fitter than me.
Yeah.
I've always said exercise is bad for you.
Mind you, he says he's 52. He's actually 47.
It was a long paper round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 28. But no, I'm young really, and still have a long time to go, hopefully. So I'm grateful for the second chance.
But the main question is, how are you now? Do you feel a lot better than you were like a few months ago? How is your health and how's everything going?
It's good. I am on quite a few tablets, so I joke that I rattle if I jump up and down.
Okay.
And they have some side effects. So I don't generate adrenaline, which is weird. So you know when you're undertaking a task, like I was on stage here at the show, and I knew it was going to happen. In fact, the first time it happened was at the Harrogate show, in Yorkshire Motorhome show, Warner's show, and it was 3 weeks to the day that I'd had the angiogram and had these stents fitted, and I was over the moon to be there. And I went on stage and I thought, great, the adrenaline will kick in, and it didn't. And I'm 3 minutes into the presentation, I'm thinking, where's the energy boost? It's not happening. And I had to dig deep, and I got out of breath, and my voice dried up, and I had to say, guys, you just give me a minute, I just need to catch my breath and have a drink. And you could see the whole front row get ready to run up and help me up. I think I'm going to collapse. And I came off stage, I was bright red, exhausted, and it's simply because I didn't generate any adrenaline. So here I gave a talk yesterday, I knew it would happen again, and it did, just no adrenaline. So I can deal with that, and I just have to go at a slower pace than perhaps I might have done in the past. And I get out of breath. I have this cough which is really annoying, caused by a drug called Ramipril. And if you're familiar with Ramipril, as many in the group will be, I'm sure they'll know the cough. It's eased up a bit, so I'm dealing with it. I'm seeing the consultant next week, so hopefully all is good, and I'm going in for another echocardiogram where they, like the midwife does, but around my heart, have a look. So fingers crossed, all is well.
Brilliant. So I'm going to go back to the NEC, because that's where I first met Matt, because we were looking around the motorhomes, the brand new ones, of course, and this man to me said, and I quoted, are you looking for a new motorhome, James? Is Tilly getting binned off? Now that was funny of Matt, because he's got a great sense of humour, and the answer is no, because she's still here. Can you believe it? She's still here. The queen of the motorhome is still here. She's 10 years old.
She needs cleaning, mate.
Tell me about it. But we'll do that when we get home on Monday. Don't worry about that. But can I just say, Matt, on behalf of Motorhome Happiness, of Tilly, it's been an absolute honour and a pleasure to have you in my motorhome, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's great, always great to see you. And if you're watching this and you're not in Motorhome Happiness, then join up. It is a brilliant group, a great place to get help and advice and share information as well, isn't it?
And before we go, guys, I will be saying this to Matt, if we ever do, the time has come to move on with Tilly, to get a old one or a new one. We never know. I'm going to offer Matt a first refusal on this motorhome, because she's been well looked after. Every MOT, every habitation check, she's right up to date up there every year. And if the chance does come along, it probably won't, but you never know in these things. This man here is going to get first refusal of the famous motorhome Tilly, because this motorhome has been on £1 million motorhomes on Channel 5. She's even been on the local news, and even been on TV in the £1 Million Motorhome show, and we're going to go on TV again on the BBC One show soon, so that's going to be happening. So Matt's going to get a very famous motorhome in his hands if he chooses to accept or decline.
It sounds like you're talking up her value at this point, I'll be honest.
I wish
She's
I did.
Priceless.
Yes, she is very priceless, very priceless. Had her for 5 years, and but listen, this has been James Riley. This has been Matt. And what I am going to do for Matt in this video, I will put all the links in the description of the podcast, of thatleisureshop.com, and most of all, the Motorhome Holiday. But Matt, listen, seriously, mate, thank you.
Thanks, James. Great to see you, mate.
Thank you very much, guys, and I shall see you lot on the next one.